Welcome to A Mess in the Kitchen, the podcast all about demystifying home cooking. I'm Molly Mogren-Cat, a food and travel writer who loves to cook but is only so-so at it. My co-host, Dusty Kugler, is a former food stylist, caterer, and food fanatic that always makes cooking look effortless and somehow manages to clean up after herself in the process. We talk recipes, cooking tips and techniques, our favorite kitchen gear, mishaps, and successes. We believe eating good food at home doesn't have to be so complicated, and if you screw up, who cares? That's why God invented frozen pizza. Here's the show. Welcome to A Mess in the Kitchen, Sarah Von Bargen.
Thank you so much for having me.
My co-host Dusty is in Milwaukee this weekend visiting her daughter who's playing soccer there. Go Panthers, maybe? I don't know. Go some team. But, so I'm going to have to tell her all about this later because I feel like she will love this, your creative approach to cooking.
Oh, good.
Listeners, here's a little bit about Sarah. She is a writer, a blogger. Maybe you've heard of her on Yes and Yes. She likes to say yes to things. Mm-hmm. Very adventurous. I'd call you a teacher.
Oh, yeah. You can say that. An educator. Yeah.
You're an educator. Mm-hmm. And now you're educating people like me and, I don't know, people listening about how to spend their money, right?
Correct, yes.
And time and energy on purpose.
Yes, correct, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that just basically means, like, not just mindlessly buying crap on Amazon, etc.
Correct, yes. And also, in addition to spending your money on purpose, but also, like, spending your time. So, like, stop filling your calendar with stuff you don't actually want to do. Stop, watching Netflix for more than, like, an hour and a half. I love a good Gilmore Girls. I love a good, West Wing. Mm-hmm. But I would say there's a point of diminishing returns on all of those.
Oh, absolutely. Though I never got into the Gilmore Girls.
Oh, it's very fun to watch now when they, they're using, like, sidekicks and, like, landlines. And it's very fun to, like, view it through the lens of, it's an old show now.
Yes.
So it's fun to watch now.
Yeah, it is kind of funny how all of a sudden you're like, whoa, that is not happening anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So the reason I wanted to have you on the show is we're all about fostering, building confidence in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. And you have created a super magical way to do that.
Thank you.
And you've started with the No Grocery Challenge.
Correct, yes.
So can you tell me about that?
Sure. So, fun fact about me is I hate to go grocery shopping.
Oh, God. I love it.
Oh, my God. I hate it. I am blessed with a husband who likes to go grocery shopping. Okay. So, that is great. But in addition to hating to go grocery shopping, I am also extremely mindful about food waste.
Yes.
Mostly, let's be real, there is a billboard right by my house.
Mm-hmm.
The ad council billboards, we've all seen them about food waste. So, I saw those billboards everywhere. I hate going grocery shopping, and also I'm very mindful of my environmental impact, and my husband is a climatologist, so this is something that we think about a lot in our house. And the No Grocery Challenge started last summer. We were going on vacation, and I did not want to go. I didn't want all the food to rot in the fridge while we were gone, and I didn't want to go grocery shopping. So I set myself a challenge for the week leading up to the trip that we were not going to go grocery shopping, and I was just going to cook with what was in my kitchen, what was in the fridge. We have a big freezer down the basement and in the cupboards, but we have, like, a very normal size kitchen. We live in the ubiquitous South Minneapolis bungalow that's like 1,200 square feet. So it's not like we have some giant kitchen that's like equipped for doomsday. But I started this challenge, just for fun. I didn't think that anybody was going to care, but the way I set it up was I would take photos of the ingredients that I was working with and then the meal that I made out of it. So it was a before and after.
And I will say, as someone who follows you on Instagram, but what is it? Yes blog. Yeah. Like, your ingredients you're starting with, they're, like, not sexy.
No, nobody, like, it's people. A friend messaged me and she said, I swear to God, every time you post the ingredients, my, like, heart rate goes up because I'm like, how is she gonna do it this time?
It's like
bacon fat and, like, an old hot dog bun. I'm not kidding.
No, yeah, or like a wrinkly knob of garlic that's been in my fridge for God knows how long.
Yes, like, it's not sexy. But because I'm a decent cook and I'm experienced. I've been a vegetarian since I was 12, so I sort of had to learn how to cook.
You
cook
were
for myself.
you were a vegetarian before a vegetarian was like.
A
I don't
thing.
want to say it wasn't cool because I feel like it was actually really cool and everyone tried it at one point,
Yeah.
but like it wasn't easy.
Yeah, no. Growing up in a town of 2,000 people in rural Minnesota, being a vegetarian is not the world's easiest thing.
No.
In 1997 in Aiken, Minnesota, but so it really people loved it. They loved seeing like the weird stuff I started with and then what it turned into. And I think it's also very relatable because if you've seen those ubiquitous billboards, the average American throws out 40% of the food that they buy. So every single one of us has a wrinkly knob of garlic in our fridge. Every single one of us has some weird hot dog bun that's been like floating around the cupboard.
Or in the freezer, in the
Yes,
drawer that
yes.
you're like, it's like,
Yes.
why did I
Why did I freeze this? What did I think I was going to do with it? I have so many things that you can do with
yes.
but
which we will get to.
Yes, but so people loved it. I got tons and tons of DMs and tons of people messaged me and they said, "Will you write a book about this?" And I thought like, I don't know what to tell you. Just go on all recipes and type in the ingredients. But so my original plan was I'm just going to write like a blog post about this. And I'm not kidding you, 73 pages later, I realized, there's a lot more that I can talk about because it's not just about how to cook with what's in your kitchen. It's also about like stop shopping for the person you wish you were.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
Right.
There's a lot more psychology that goes into it. It's a lot about like developing habits so you don't waste so much food in the first place. There's ways to like you can't just like throw everything in the fridge and think it's going to last forever. Like different food needs to be stored differently in different ways. There's a lot more that goes into it other than just like typing ingredients into allrecipes.com.
Totally. So you write this book / are you calling it a book or a course?
I call it I call it the No Grocery Challenge guidebook and cookbook because it's not just about like here are, sort of basic building block recipes. There's a lot more like changing your mindset around how you eat and what you eat and how you shop and how you store food. So a lot of it is sort of that deeper stuff. And then there's also like a big section on like these are building block recipes that you can use based on what most of us have in our kitchen on any given, Sunday night.
Totally. So before we get into that, I'm just curious because I know another one of your passions is saving money.
Yes, correct.
So how much money do you think you saved since you started doing this?
I would say, so the way I run my No Grocery Challenge, and everybody does it differently, but I do not go grocery shopping the last week of every month. And I know that we usually spend between $80 and $120 per week going grocery shopping. So I would say best case scenario, I've saved about $1,000. But of course, it varies.
Right.
But I think that would be a very realistic guess or expectation for anybody who does it. Especially, like I was, even before I implemented the No Grocery Challenge, I was already quite mindful of food waste. And a lot of people are not. So I would say it would be realistic to expect to save more money because a lot of people aren't doing anything about food waste. Like there's a much bigger opportunity for a lot of people to save more money than I'm saving even.
Totally. Yeah, that's a good point. So how about this? Because I bought your course book thing.
Yeah.
$17 worth every cent. I learned I cook a ton and I feel like I was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Or I don't do that. One of the things that struck me was how you can reorganize your specifically refrigerator so you're wasting less food. Let's talk about that.
Yes, yeah. So one of the things that I talk about, which is pretty counterintuitive, we've all been taught that you put the vegetables in the crisper.
Hold pause. WTF is a crisper.
I know.
Right?
And also, like, I don't think it keeps anything crispy.
No!
It's a drawer, guys. Like
It is. Oh yeah, and then they have that little slidey humid.
Yes,
that's fake, right?
I think so. I mean,
is it like how the button on the elevator when you press close doors doesn't work?
No, it lights up, but you're like, I did the right thing. I've pushed the button. Like it gives you like an emotional and psychological piece. It doesn't accomplish anything.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But so the crisper. So we've all been led to believe that the right thing to do. You get home, you take your fruit and your vegetables, you put it in the crisper.
The crisper.
That's what we think. But humans, we use the things that we can see and we ignore the things that we can't see. So the first thing that I teach is take all the food in your fridge that you want to be eating less of. So like if you have a bunch of cookies or cake, or for me it's cheese.
Oh, cheese is mine.
Yes, cheese.
Yes.
Or very expensive dates.
Oh,
I love a good date. I am not kidding you. We probably spend about like $10 a week on dates.
Well, I guess though, but you can use them in cooking a
yes.
ton.
Oh, I love them, but they're very expensive, and I also don't need to eat like 5 a day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just calm down, Sarah. But so take the food that you want to eat less of and put it in the crisper, and take the stuff that you want to eat more of / the stuff that always turns bad and put it at eye level.
Yes.
Because then you're going to eat it. I would also say, and I know this is a total pain in the butt, but don't store things in opaque containers because you won't see it.
1,000%.
You become blind to it. So I know it's a pain, but like when you bring home your takeout, like when you don't finish stuff at a restaurant, oh my God, bring it home. Like I know it sounds tacky, but like literally even take home the bread from the bread basket that you didn't eat.
Oh.
They're just gonna throw it away, guys.
Yeah.
They're just gonna throw it away.
See, and the thing is, like, sometimes I'm like, well, if I put it in my fridge, it's just gonna get stale and grody, and like, honestly, am I really gonna eat that later?
Yeah.
But
I have so many things to tell you about bread.
Yes.
but so like it, and if you really want to go the extra step, you would, next time you go to eat, you bring your Tupperware with you. I know you feel like the most like chintzy, tight
Shoney's grandma. This is the second time in the history of this podcast that you go all Shoney's old country buffet grandma.
Yes, you bring your Tupperware and you put your leftovers in your own see-through Tupperware, and then you bring it home. But you know what, you guys? #0 waste. Like if you feel chintzy or awkward, just look on Instagram for zero waste. All the hip kids are doing it.
Yeah.
They really are. It's becoming much more socially acceptable. And also, like, what do you care about what people at the restaurant think about you?
Right. Well, plus nobody likes to open a thing of like cottage cheese only to find like rotten something else in there.
Yes. So transfer, and if you don't bring your own Tupperware, like transfer your leftovers into a clear container.
Yes.
And keep it at the front of the fridge.
Yes. Okay. I love that.
Yeah.
Also, I love the part in it where you talk about the cold spots. I have a cold spot in my freezer or my fridge where things freeze.
It freezes. And so like don't put your cilantro back there, because
that's literally exactly what I did.
And then it freezes and you're like, and also like fresh herbs are so expensive.
Yes.
We never use all of them.
No.
And so like and we can talk later about how to store your herbs correctly so they don't go bad.
Yes.
And what to do with them. But like stop. If you know stuff freezes back there, either A, stop putting stuff back there, or put something back there. Put your like soup back there or something that it doesn't matter if it freezes.
Right. Exactly. Because there's nothing sadder than frozen like greens.
Yes.
Yes. Just like slimy.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
You can't resuscitate those.
No. I would say if you have greens that have frozen, I just put them I just move it to the freezer, and then I put them into either blended soups or smoothies.
Oh my gosh. That is one of my favorite food wasted sort of tips is I love putting herbs in my smoothies.
Oh, interesting. I've never put them in my smoothies.
Oh my God,
Really?
Sarah. Cilantro? Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
Tropical, think like tropical drinks, mint in a smoothie.
Interesting. All right. I will try that. Ooh. Into it.
Yep.
Into it. One of the things so I love a good zoodle.
Oh yeah.
You know, when you make your zoodles.
That's by the way, noodles made of like zucchini.
The most hipster thing you'll hear. So when you're making your zoodles, there's like a core. Like you end up with like a zucchini core.
Yeah, it's like a zucchini wiener is kind of what it's like. It's like
zucchini wiener.
Yeah.
Zucchini wiener. And so the instinct is to like throw away the zucchini wiener.
Yeah.
I just freeze it and then put it in smoothies, because also zucchini is pretty much flavorless, and and especially the core is like white. So if you're someone who like you want to have like a nice pink smoothie and you don't want to like ruin it with spinach that turns it brown, like a frozen zucchini core.
Oh yeah.
And if you eat a lot of zoodles, it really adds up.
Totally. Yeah, that is a thing where I feel like every time I make a smoothie, I'm like, wow, that looks like sludgy concrete.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I get very I am very aesthetics oriented.
Yes.
And so like I will legit, I have like homemade stock that I make,
Mm-hmm.
but I save all my vegetable peels, and I'm a vegetarian, but we save all the like meat bones,
Mm-hmm.
and then we roast all of it and then make it into a stock. But because it's roasted, it's this very like dark brown stock.
Mm-hmm.
And so all the blended soups I make end up being like dark brown, which is not like the world's sexiest
Yeah.
soup color.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in the book I even say like, just FYI, this is like a brown stock that will like take over every soup that you make. And so if I'm having guests over, I will use like my Better Than Bouillon chicken stock, which is yellow, which will like, you can still have like a nice pretty like bright green soup or orange soup.
Yes.
Because I am that finicky that I get concerned about like, is this soup beautiful?
Well, see, this is another thing I feel like you do talk about a lot in the book, but also do really well is, because I feel like when people are like, well, what do you mean I'm just like throwing scraps of this and that
Mhm.
together for a week?
Yeah.
I hate leftovers. This
Yeah.
is uninspired. This is
Mhm.
boring.
Yeah.
And in fact, actually, I think in February, Josh, my husband, and I did this for like 10 days.
Mhm.
You know, I'm like, we're not going grocery shopping for the rest of the month.
Mm-hmm.
And he was kind of upset about it.
Oh yeah,
He was
some
like,
people really, really don't like it.
yeah, but I feel like you do a good job of being like, just because you're eating
Yeah.
all scrappy like doesn't
Yeah.
mean you have to eat like slop or things that don't
No.
look pretty. So let's
No.
talk about that. How do you
Yes.
take time to plate things
Oh,
and
yes.
heat things up correctly?
Oh,
and
absolutely. Like
Tell me more about that.
So I really believe, especially if you're listening and you're a mom or you're a woman, like it's very easy to like fill everybody's cup before your own. You
Mhm.
know, like you make your kids some great organic meal and then you like eat the leftover chicken tenders or whatever.
Mhm.
But like even if you're eating by yourself, even if you're eating leftovers, like you deserve to eat a lovely meal.
Yeah.
And it's really not like, it's honestly about like putting it in a bowl and like heating it up correctly, eating it
Mhm.
sitting down. And it can be as easy as I put Trader Joe's Everything But the Bagel seasoning on everything,
Mhm.
which is like this really pretty seasoning with black sesame seeds and poppy seeds. So it
Yes.
makes things look nice.
and it's really great for getting in your teeth.
it is very teeth oriented.
I have a question. This is kind of
Yes.
gross, but don't you sometimes like when it's like a half an hour later and you're like, ooh, I just got a little bit of
Yeah. Yes. Yes. But I'm just choosing to move past it,
No.
like because I love it. As a side note, for Christmas, my husband went to I think he went to the co-op and he put together, I think it was like 3 pounds worth of the equivalent of Everything But the Bagel seasoning. So he gave me like a giant.
Did you feel
container.
so seen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I think I even posted on Instagram, like, you know, like #true love or
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, that's how devoted I am to Everything But the Bagel seasoning. But so even if you don't want to have Everything But the Bagel seasoning, like, just like fresh cracked pepper, a drizzle
Mhm.
of olive oil, some sour cream, take the
Mhm.
like sad nubbin of cheese out of the cheese drawer and grate it on top. Like, it is very, very likely that every one of us has something in our kitchen that we can sprinkle on top of something else.
Yes.
That's it. Take out the sad green onions and clip a little bit of the tops onto it.
totally.
Like or even like some spinach. Like it's green, like just something in a contrasting color. You put
Yes.
something on top of something else and you eat it sitting down. That's
Or-
practically all you need.
What about this? If you have a lemon or a lime, just a little
Ooh.
wedge on the
Yes.
on the corner of the plate.
Yes. And
It's
you're all like, no
ooh.
big deal, I'm fancy.
Yes.
Yes. And it takes truly maybe 30 more seconds.
Right.
But it makes you feel like you're treating yourself and your meal with the love and the respect that the whole situation deserves.
yes, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So, I guess what are other? I have so many questions for you, Sarah. So, can we talk a little bit about some of your favorite go-tos with like how you tackle this in your
Yes.
everyday life? Because the
Mhm.
other thing too is like you're married
Mhm.
and you have 2 step kids,
Mhm.
teenagers.
Yes.
And I've got 2 little kids too, so it's sort
Mhm.
of we're cooking for all sorts of
Situations.
situations. Yeah. So like, what are your tactics?
Well, I would say a really good rice is obviously incredibly cheap. We all have it sitting in our house.
Mm-hmm.
So rice is a great base for stir fries, for risotto. And I think one of the other tricks of the No Grocery Challenge is when you call it risotto, is it arancini, the rice balls?
yeah,
Like, when you call it strata,
Yeah,
You know,
and
then
not
it's like,
like-
then it's like, ooh, not when you don't call it like, this is bread pudding made from old hot dog buns.
Yeah.
Nobody's into it.
I think unless it's a hot dog, even like a hot dog bun just sounds. I love a hot dog, but a hot dog bun. Just,
Yes. No.
Yeah.
But when you say both to yourself, to your partner who may not be that into leftovers, to your kids, we're having arancini tonight. Ooh, exciting. Ooh, it's like Italian fried rice balls. Ooh.
Mhm.
Like they don't know that it's the leftover rice from the Chinese restaurant
Mhm.
and then like you know, roasted some vegetables and put it in the middle, and then you like took some Cheerios and put it in the blender and like rolled it in the Cheerios
Yes.
and baked it. They don't know that.
Right.
They're like, ooh, it's arancini. They don't know that strata is the old hot dog buns and the heels of that bread and like whatever was like languishing in the crisper because he didn't listen to me.
Yeah.
You know, like they don't know that. But when you're like, ooh, look at this beautiful strata that I made with this like cheese on top and all these vegetables.
That's what I made. I made it last week with
Yes.
with odds and ends from our freezer. So I
Yes.
found some weird old bread that was in the bottom drawer
Yes.
in the freezer crisper.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I put that in the base of a
Mhm.
pan, like a
Mhm.
glass pan,
Mhm.
and then I had bits of frozen broccoli.
Yes.
I put in there. I
Uh-huh.
had some frozen mini bell peppers that I had
Ooh,
chopped
yes.
up.
Uh-huh.
So those I always chop. Oh,
Yes.
By the way, here's a hot tip on those.
Uh-huh.
You know, you don't have to like take the seeds out of those.
I people tell me that, but I get worried about it.
I know you don't, but you don't have to. If you're being,
Okay.
I'm lazy a little bit.
Okay.
So that's like a lazy step that I
Okay.
take
All right.
sometimes.
Okay.
I mean, I'll pick out.
Yeah.
I'm just not too picky about.
Yeah, you're not gonna like scrape them carefully.
No, I don't
Okay.
cut each open and like take
Oh,
the.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, that's good to know.
I just kind of slice them like rings.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's
Okay.
good to know.
So then I sauteed that with some onions that were also frozen
Yeah.
in the freezer. I had some corn from
Ooh.
last summer. I mean, I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, don't
It's frozen. Whatever.
right? I feel that way.
Yeah.
And then just some like eggs and
Yeah.
cheese. And
Yes.
Josh was like, "Holy bananas! This
Yes.
is delicious."
Yes. Like
It
it's
was so good.
I swear to God, like one of the tips that I share in the book is like if you live with people who are not into leftovers, they don't even need to know you're doing this.
Right.
Like if you're the person who generally does the grocery shopping and the cooking and you know that the people in your life are like, I don't like leftovers, they don't even need to know you're doing this. Like
Mhm.
the chances of them like looking in the fridge and putting two and two together and realizing that the risotto was actually like the leftover Chinese restaurant rice is very, very low.
Also, can I just point this out? If someone who you're shopping and cooking for
Oh,
is
yeah.
bitching
Yes.
about,
Oh yeah.
what do you mean you're serving me leftovers? It's like,
Oh my God, make it yourself, my dude. Or my
yes.
person. It
My
could
person.
also be a lady who's not into your leftovers.
Yeah,
Mm.
go away.
Yes. Yeah. But I think that yes, I think that's the best way to navigate it.
Totally. So what are some of your other favorite things to make?
I love both smoothies and blended soups because they're incredibly easy
Mm-hmm.
and they're healthy.
Oh yeah.
And
you swear by the Ninja?
oh my gosh, yes, the NutriBullet Ninja.
Yes.
And like the only like I've never used Vitamix, but
Mhm.
Vitamixes are what, $500?
I have one, but I got it from I got hooked up so hard at my last job. I've got
Oh.
that and a Cuisinart
Whoa.
food processor that I
Ooh.
didn't pay for.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but I'm telling you, I have a Ninja too.
Yes.
And it's kind of my favorite. Easy to clean.
Oh my God, it's so easy to clean. And I would say, and this applies to like every area of life, but like the easier you can make it to like quote unquote be good,
Uh-huh.
the better it is. And like a Ninja, like you make it and you rinse it out and it's done.
Uh-huh.
Whereas from what I've seen of Vitamix is like a 17-part process of cleaning it.
Oh God! Not only that, but like, how do you get the bits out of the bottom? And I feel
bruh.
like you have to actually put a lot of stuff in a Vitamix in order for it to start
Like
whirling.
churning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
a Ninja, you can put in like a cup and a half.
Yes.
And it costs, I think, like $50, somewhere
Yeah.
between 50 and 80.
yeah, they're not
Yeah,
not much.
they're not expensive. And the only, I think, drawback is that you can't put hot stuff in a Ninja. But
Mhm.
also, like, who cares? Like, the difference, is that worth paying $450 more for? I think not.
Mhm.
Like, just let your soup cool down and then put it in the Ninja. It's
Oh,
fine.
or also get an immersion blender,
Yes.
which is like So cheap.
Yes, or like I have gotten both my mixer and my immersion blender. I got them at Goodwill for like less than $8. I got a Soda Stream at Goodwill. Like hashtag secondhand first. Just go to Goodwill and try.
Or estate sales.
Yes, just try that first, and if you can't find it, then go on Amazon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have the Ninja. You make your smoothies and your soups.
Yes.
Anything?
Yes.
What are some other faves?
I love pretty much any. You can take any not sweet carb and turn it into crumbs and do something with the crumbs. So like any breakfast cereal, like the dregs of the bag of the breakfast cereal, and it's not sweet. Any stale bread, crackers, corn chips, anything, you can turn it into crumbs, and then you can either turn the crumbs into like a crust for a quiche, you can turn it into like breading for meat or for rice balls.
Yes.
Or I like to make what I call a savory streusel.
Tell me more.
So it's just some sort of crumbs, some sort of like neutral flavored crumbs, either butter or oil or bacon fat.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
then
Sarah's like the vegetarian that eats bacon.
Oh yes, I eat
fat.
bacon and I eat bacon fat.
But
so
that's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Oh, and I would say I eat chicken strips like twice a year.
Okay.
So I'm more like an exceptionally selective meat eater.
Yes.
But so you just take some sort of fat, seasonings of choice, and some sort of neutral flavored crumbs, and then you cook it and brown it on a stove, and then sprinkle it on top of something. So you can like whatever vegetables you have, roast them, and then put this sort of stuff on top.
You sprinkle it on top, then do you like toast it just a little bit?
I toast it on the pan in a pan.
Oh.
And then I do that. And I will also do the same thing but make it sweet.
Mm-hmm.
So like a little bit of brown sugar, again butter, cinnamon, nutmeg, and then I'll put that on top of like sauteed apples. I love to saute apples because both apples and bananas are super cheap. You pretty much always have them in your house.
Mm-hmm.
Saute them in a pan with butter for however long until they're browned. Put them in a bowl and put some sort of like a streusel situation on top, and all of a sudden it's dessert.
Yes.
And it's just fruit, and it takes like maybe 7 minutes.
Yeah. And how fancy does that feel? Also,
yes.
You guys, I had an epiphany this week. Do you think that bananas are the most predictable, consistent food in the world?
That's true. You never really have a bad one. Like, and if it's bad, it's usually because it's underripe, and you could tell that from looking at it.
But they're, no matter what, like if it's underripe, I mean,
it tastes the same. That's a very good point. That is a very good point. Because like clementines, some are great, some are not great.
Mm-hmm.
Apples, some are great, some are not great. That's very interesting.
Right?
Soothing, sort of.
Yeah.
Like you just know what you're getting into.
Yeah, always with a banana. I wonder if that's why. Isn't there a phrase like you're a bad banana with a greasy black peel?
Ooh.
That is maybe where that came from.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
a bad banana would be very bad.
Yeah. What? Oh yeah, they're always the same.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know why I just had that epiphany this week. I'm like, wow, way to go, way to go, bananas. So, another thing I like that you talk about, savory oatmeal.
Yes, it is an epiphany. It is also an epiphany.
I haven't tried it because I'm a little bit like
good. I know. Well, so
I'll do it.
I think like whenever I tell people about savory oatmeal, they're like, skeptical. So number one, I learned about savory oatmeal from the New York Times, so it's legit.
Yeah.
And also, we all love polenta.
Yes.
We all love grits. It's not different.
Quinoa.
Yes.
All the same.
Yes, it's a grain, and so just make it savory. So I like to do a savory oatmeal with, again, bacon fat, whatever cheese nubbins you have floating around, and then you top it with maybe like a fried egg.
Yes.
Maybe some tomatoes you have laying around, some green onions, just anything that you put on top of grits or polenta.
Yes.
It's just about salt, some fat, maybe some garlic, maybe some onions. You could do like caramelized onions and like a little blue cheese, maybe some walnuts. Yeah, there's so many things that you can put on top of it. It costs like nothing. And I'm sure we all have a ton of oatmeal in our house because it costs like $3 to buy like one of those giant canisters.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
We have a very oatmeal centric home
yes.
right now.
Oh yes, absolutely. I'm trying to convince because I have a 12 and a 15-year-old stepson who eat like they're 12 and 15-year-old boys.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to like convince my husband that that sometime we should have like a top your own oatmeal.
Yes.
Because then we could feed them.
Yeah.
Like $2. I don't know if they'll buy into it, but let's try.
Yeah. I think you should do it.
Yeah.
Oh yes. I get it. Yeah, I think that's
Because feeding teenagers is wildly expensive.
right. And also, it's not that much different than like a pasta bar.
Yes, yeah. So we'll try. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I'm into that. I'm into that.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to tell you, this is
Mhm.
my favorite using up anything in the fridge thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything can be
Mhm.
an enchilada.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
Kind of how I feel.
Okay.
All right. So,
Yeah.
okay. So, tortillas,
Yeah.
cheap. Always have
Yes.
tons because
Yeah.
my daughter's obsessed.
Uh-huh.
I swear to God, you can put anything in those tortillas
Yeah.
and then just put like, well, I actually buy the enchilada sauce.
Oh, okay.
Oftentimes.
Yeah.
Like Rick Bayless has a good one.
Yeah.
Just to have on hand. But I think you could do it with like salsa or
Yeah.
anything and then
Yes,
cover it
yeah.
with cheese. Oven.
Interesting. Yeah,
for
no,
20
that totally
minutes,
makes sense. That
right?
totally makes
It's
sense.
kind of like Mexican
Yes.
strata.
Yes. Yeah, that is a very good idea. I would also say that fake chilaquiles is another good thing because most of us have either corn chips or tortillas in our house.
Yes.
Most of us have a bunch of cans of chili
Mhm.
or salsa, and we have eggs.
Yeah.
And like, I just do a fake. I mean, because I know that the real chilaquiles are quite an endeavor. I
Mhm.
basically just scramble some eggs and then put some tortilla chips on top, and then put salsa on top, and then put like a top on the pan for like a minute and a half, and then call it good.
Yeah.
And then grate whatever cheese nubbins are around on top of it.
And then plate it, make it look nice, and
Yes!
everyone's like, "Oh my God, Sarah,
Chilaquiles, and
you
I'm
were so
like,
fancy."
Yes, and I'm like, oh yes, definitely. That is definitely the correct response. Yes.
Do I have any other? Oh, do you save your pickle juice?
No, but I have heard. So when it comes to cocktails, I don't like sweet cocktails.
Oh, yeah, I don't really either.
So I've heard that pickle juice martinis are really good.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
I do them in Bloody Marys. I do pickle juice and Bloody Marys.
Ooh, I could see that. Yeah.
I don't even like Bloody Marys normally,
Yeah.
but with pickle juice, hell yeah.
Ooh, yes.
I also brine chicken in it.
really. I've
Oh my
heard that
God.
that's so good.
It is so good. It is.
Ooh.
It is like it's like Chick-fil-A.
Oh,
Minus,
I've
like-
never had
minus
the
the-
problematic politics.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Super good. So you just like
All
soak
right.
your chicken
Yeah.
in there for, I don't know, And-
Ooh.
30 minutes, whatever.
Ooh, okay. All right, note to self. I'm trying to think of other things that I use. Oh, are you familiar with aquafaba? Do you know what that is? It is-
Maybe.
it's the water left after the chickpeas.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And so I have used that. You can make a really nice mousse out of that. I know it sounds
Disgusting.
ridiculous. It sounds
Yeah.
disgusting and weird.
Yeah.
I would say that is probably one of the no grocery challenges that I got the most DMs on.
Yeah, no, people
Because-
you can make all.
Yes.
It's like the duct tape of
Yes.
the legume world.
Yes, truly. And
But-
also, again, a can of chickpeas, I think is less than $1 usually.
Yeah.
So you can make hummus,
Uh-huh.
and then you can make dessert. Like at Christmas, I go to an annual cookie exchange party, and I
Uh-huh.
made meringues. I made
Oh.
chickpea meringues and brought them, and people liked them.
And nobody knew. Did
Nobody
they? Well,
knew.
they did. You
I mean,
told them.
I'm sure it was all like, "Oh my god, these are chickpea!" Boo! But I waited till everybody took them.
Yes,
and like
yes.
tried them before.
For
I,
sure, you have to.
Yes, yeah. But I love aquafaba. I also make my own. This is pretty next level, but I make my own cashew milk.
Oh,
Which
I've done it.
It's really because you don't really have to soak them for very long, and they don't have skins that you have to remove, so you don't need a nut milk bag.
Yeah. Ew. Can you even say nut milk without wanting to
it's so
barf?
Embarrassing.
I know.
But yeah, so I like I make my own cashew milk, and then I'll and one of the nice things about cashew milk is when you heat it, it thickens,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's really great. It makes like a lovely Alfredo sauce.
Yes.
It thickens soups. It makes really nice sauces. It makes them creamy. So if you have vegans
Yep.
in your life or people who are lactose intolerant, I just buy a bulk bag of raw cashews on
Yep.
Amazon and keep it in the freezer.
Ooh, on Amazon.
Yes, and you can. I think we buy like maybe like a 2-pound bag,
Mhm.
and it lasts for a really long time.
Because cashews are quite expensive.
They are very expensive, yeah.
Mhm.
But if you are, especially like if you don't have, if someone in your house doesn't have dairy, it's a really because even though it's expensive to buy a 2-pound bag of cashews, it is much cheaper to make your own cashew milk than to like go and continually buy liter after liter after liter of, almond milk at Target.
Plus, the other thing is like you can keep cashews in your pantry and
Yes.
they don't go bad
No.
in 7 to 10 days after opening.
Yes, you can just make it whenever you need it instead of like, oh yeah, we have to go. And also because like you can't just like run to Safeway. And I mean, like, you can't just like necessarily run to your corner store knowing that they're going to have a non-dairy milk on hand. But if you
Right.
have cashews,
Unless you live in a hipster neighborhood
Yes.
like me.
Yes.
Like, you have a hard time selecting your alternative
I'm sure the
milk.
Wedge has a lot of alternative milks.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's probably all they have.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to have to run someplace to get an alternative milk, just keep frozen cashews on hand. And if you have a decent food processor or blender, you can make your own.
Yeah. Even a Ninja.
Yes, even a Ninja.
Or if you have a Vitamix, a Ninja, and a Cuisinart like me.
Cuisinart. Yes.
I swear to God, though, it's like the Ninja I keep going back to because it's
I
easier,
know.
easier to clean.
I know. Like, I swear to God, like, I've got to they should be sponsoring something I'm doing because between the Roomba and the Ninja, like, I've converted dozens of people.
Wow, you're very into the robots.
Oh my God, yes. Yes, I welcome our robot overlords. Yes.
Well, if people are interested
Mhm.
in doing No Grocery Challenge, where can they find you?
Find me on Instagram. My
Mhm.
handle is Yes and Yes Blog. And I do the No Grocery Challenge the last week of every month.
Okay.
But you can also, in my Instagram story highlights, you can look back and like see other things that I've made and like tips that I've shared. And I also wrote a $17 ebook about it.
I bought it.
Yeah, and it pays for itself in like 1 to 2 meals. So
100%.
and it's not just recipes. There are lots of tips, and because it's as easy as it seems, there's a lot more to doing this effectively than just like not going grocery shopping.
Right. I mean, you could do that, but it feels more like a punishment. Whereas this makes
Yes.
it feel like an exciting adventure.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep.
I love it. Well, thanks for being on A Mess in the Kitchen.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to A Mess in the Kitchen podcast. We're really impressed that you made it all the way to the end. You can learn more about our show at amessinthekitchen.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram. The show is produced by Twyla Dang of Matriarch Digital Media. Check them out. She's got tons of great shows at matriarchdm.com. If you like the show, please rate and review us. It helps new people find the show. And until next time, here's to good enough cooking. Cheers.